We've all heard about the early bird and how he catches the worm. Well, that saying is true in sports betting. Week 1 of the NFL season is still 4 months away, but NFL team schedules just got released this week, and everything from team win totals to odds to win the Super Bowl are available to bet on, and we don't want to wait until September when the season starts to start making bets, because it'll allow the sports books to gather more information and form a stronger opinion on teams, or maybe correct any mistakes they might have made. As I'm talking right now, there's definitely bettors picking off bad lines and mispriced odds, and as a result of this, sportsbooks are making the necessary adjustments to the lines. Eventually, everything offered by the sportsbooks will have strong, accurate lines that won't have any clear edges that we can exploit. Right now, the sportsbooks are more focused on the NBA and NHL playoffs and daily MLB, because that's what everyone's betting right now. So it's a good time to try and sneak some bets in that we think have good value. So how do we find bets that have good value? Well, that's what we're going to do here together in this video series. I'm going to go through and discuss each team and see what bets we can come up with. On the screen right now will be kind of like our guide and serve as like a starting point to identify teams we want to look into a little bit more. The blue column has each team's regular season win totals from last year. Next to it is this year's regular season win totals for this upcoming season. And in the very middle, I have my own personal win projections for each team. How I come up with these is by taking the end of last season's power ratings, and I create a point spread for each team's opponent. Based on the results, I create win totals for each team along with strength of schedule. And really quickly, like with in regards to strength of schedule, just really quickly, you can't trust everyone's strength of schedule, especially if you don't know how they came up with it, because there's a lot of ways to create a strength of schedule. But some of the common ways are very flawed. Like, you can't just use a team's win percentage from last year, because teams change significantly year to year, and using the current season win totals to find a team's strength of opponent is a good way, but you have to keep in mind there are prices attached to each win total. Like, for example, if we look at just the top 4 teams with the highest win total, Bills, Ravens, Eagles, and Chiefs, they're all at 11.5 wins, but they aren't all equal. Bills 11.5 with the over juiced at minus 140 is much different than the Chiefs 11.5 under juiced at minus 125. That's the market clearly saying the Bills are a stronger team than the Chiefs. I use my own ratings to come up with strength of schedule, and how we read it is 0 is exactly league average. A team like the 49ers have the easiest strength of schedule because, based on my ratings, the average of all their opponents are 1.7 points below a league average team. So all the teams highlighted in green play a schedule of opponents with a combined average strength below league average. At the bottom, there's teams in red. They have an average opponent above league average, like the Lions, with the most difficult strength of schedule because the average of their opponents is 1.4 points above league average. Okay, so now we understand what this chart can read. Let's start seeing if we can find some bets. And I guess we're just going to start right at the top with the Buffalo Bills. I have them projected at 12.7 wins. The sportsbooks have them listed at 11.5, and in order to bet the over, you have to lay minus 140. Now, a few days ago, the NFL released every team's official schedule, and after looking at Buffalo's schedule, I like them even more now. They have the easiest road schedule of any team. I have them favored by at least 3 points in each of their 8 road games. They do start off the season against Baltimore, which is a quality opponent, but they play them at home. They have all preseason to prepare for them. The Bills have been the most dominant home team the last 5 years. They're 35-7 at home. That's an 83% win rate. Every quality opponent Buffalo has to face this season will all be at home in Buffalo. Baltimore, KC, Tampa Bay, Cincy, Philly. Buffalo is one of the few teams who have a 3-game homestand. Teams who have 3 straight home games typically win those just over 65% of the time, and Buffalo has no 3-game road trips. I already had Buffalo projected at 12.7 wins, but now after seeing the layout of their schedule, I could probably bump that up a little bit. I mean, they have a clear path to the number 1 seed, and the only problem is they're priced like the best team. I wouldn't argue betting their over 11.5 wins or to win the division. It's just so hard to bet a big favorite in the futures market and have money tied up for 8 months. There's no question, in my opinion, Buffalo wins their division, and I actually think minus 240 is a cheap price for them to win the division, but I just don't want to have money tied up for that long. I want to try and find bets involving Buffalo, but I haven't bet anything yet. I was looking at betting Buffalo to get the number 1 seed, but They're the favorite in the AFC. I want to try to find a way to bet them, but I also think we can kind of find more bang for our buck in the futures market. And I don't want to start this video series off with betting like a big favorite and recommend a low return on investment. Even if it does ultimately win, winning a unit or two but having to risk 3 or 6 units and have it tied up for 8 months isn't very appealing. But we're going to find some good ones here. Just stay tuned for part 2 of this series. We'll continue to cover more teams. I'm going to just stop here. I don't want these videos to be 10 minutes long, but hopefully you found this one helpful and informative. Until next time, good luck with your bets.